got. We got some mail today, and I figured we'd do a little unboxing to see what we got and see what we got for the truck, what we got from the old Amazons, who we got, what we got, all that stuff. So the first thing we got are some pretty awesome little bags. I was watching the old Fab Rats and figured I'd get on one of the Chinese knockoff sites and order me some just to see how they, kind of see how they fit and function. The Fab Rats bags are really nice, and honestly, if I was hunting a tool set, I'd sure as hell buy it. But I've got plenty of tools, I've got plenty of stuff, and I figured it looked so handy that I might as well order some, knockoffs, and see if it was worthwhile for me, if I was going to use it enough. Seeing as I got all the trucks, all the tools, I got stuff scattered everywhere. So anytime that there's something to store stuff in that I can do it, I will. So maybe when this truck's done, we'll put a nice Fab Rats toolkit in it. But for right now, I figured I'd buy these little bags. They're kind of handy. They're something Wessel Co. or something. Kind of just a cheap knockoff of what the Fab Rats have. They seem kind of handy. The thing, honestly, I figured it'd be bigger in person, but I guess that's everything from the Chinese knockoff sites, right? But it's pretty good. It's got, like 5 zipper compartments. I think you probably do some pretty good with tools in it. And I might try and take one of the trucks, clean the tools, out of all the compartments we got them in, and put them in a bag, see how it works. Because I think Fab Rats is onto something with their bags, and it was damn handy looking. And I think if I didn't have all the tools that I got already and stuff scattered everywhere, I'd buy it. I know I can buy the bags from Fab Rats as well, but like I said, I just want to check them out, or check out a bag to see if it's something I would use. I buy a lot of stuff that I like or think is cool, and I don't use it. So, like I said, if I was hunting tools and wanted to do a good toolkit to just put in a vehicle and go, I'd buy the Fab Rats one. So, we'll see. But for right now, these little storage bags are kind of handy. Got them on the China knockoff site there, and they're just black. They got 5 compartments, nothing exotic. So we'll see. I mean, they just seem small to me. it might probably do pretty good. I don't know. We got a Milwaukee flashlight, see if it fits in there. Not really. So it's got to be a tool smaller than this, from what I can tell. There's a driver. That'll do it. I mean, you can get a few screwdrivers in there at a time, which probably wouldn't be bad. I mean, that's what you need for a personal kit for a car. You don't need to pack like your whole toolbox full of screwdrivers. Let's see what else. That's a scraper. I don't think that's going to fit in there, but I don't know why you want a scraper in a bag for. I guess it does fit in there. I don't know why you'd want a scraper in your tool bag for your car, but it will fit in there. I guess maybe an ice scraper or something, but that seems to be inconvenient. I don't know what else. I don't know what I got to see in here. I ain't gonna be able to fit an impact in there for sure. Drill bits, wire brushes. I really don't have nothing I'd put in a tool bag that's right handy within arm's reach. But it would probably do all right with some assorted wrenches, some sockets, a ratchet or two, 3/8 drive or less. I don't think you're gonna get a 1/2-inch drive ratchet in there. Oh, I guess there is one thing. I was down at the old Harbor Freight, and I was checking out, and one of my mechanics has some of these. He doesn't have one like this, but he's got some of these, and they're extendable ratchets, and I love them. I mean, I've got a proto one that is a whole lot more money, and it works very well for a 3/4-inch drive. This one right here is a Pittsburgh brand, and it extends to 13.5 inches, which is plenty of torque, so you don't have to get a cheater pipe on it. And the weird part is it has a 1/4-inch drive on one side and a 1/2-inch or 3/8 drive on the other. Let's see if I can rip this thing off there. Yeah, kind of. There we go. So if you look at it, it's got a 1/4 on this side and a 1/2 on the other. Or I don't know why I keep saying 1/2. It's got a 1/4 on this side and a 3/8 drive on this side. And so you can put a socket on it. It takes up a little more room than a regular ratchet, but it's kind of handy. You only have to pack one ratchet for 1/4-inch drive and 3/8. And it's pretty compact when you get it down. Let's see if it fits in there. And it's like 15 bucks. So I figured, hell, yeah, it's tight fit, but it fits. I mean, I think that would work good. You put your 1/4-inch sockets in one, your 3/8 in the other. And I would say that'd do probably 75–80% of the stuff, or maybe even more than that. I mean, you aren't going to be changing leaf springs or nothing. Hopefully you aren't changing leaf springs or anything along the side of the road. You know, if you're doing that, you're going to need a leaf spring and you probably need more tools, but that'd be a good universal ratchet to put in a toolkit. I thought it was kind of handy, and for the money, it was pretty neat. So it is backwards one way, then it is the other, and having the 1/4-inch drive side where the selector is a little bit awkward. I have another one of these ratchets like this in my tool set for the yard where I run out and pull stuff I need. And honestly, I've used it. It's just a regular fixed handle ratchet, but it does work really well. And I haven't really had a problem with it changing directions or doing nothing bad. I don't know if I'd really use it as a hammer, but you probably could. I mean, it seems to be fairly substantial. The Pittsburgh brand's pretty good stuff. So, I don't know, eventually I think I probably will end up using it as a hammer too. But for right now, that's what it is. So we got the bag, got the ratchet does fit in the bag. So it'll probably be good enough for a toolkit. I bought a couple of them. Doesn't seem like fun. What do we got here? Oh yeah. So this, a little funny story. My dad, he doesn't do the old internets at all. Like, not at all. He doesn't have a smartphone. He doesn't have a computer. He doesn't have internet. So, I mean, he's 76 this year, 77, something like that. So when he needs stuff, nowadays they don't make like catalogs anymore. And it's hard to call a company and just order stuff, you know, with phone call, because everything's done on the internet. But he's figured out a workaround, which is he will call me or bring me out something and have me find it for him. So that's all right. I'm good with that. You know, it's a lot of fun for me. I like looking for stuff on the internet, and he likes buying stuff, and that's kind of where we're at, which is real good. So I got on there with the Lug Nut King. We got a set of true spoke wheels. And they're original true spoke wheels back in the day. My dad has a soft spot for them. I don't know. I've never been a big fan of spoke wheels. It's just me. But it's not the generation I'm from. So he brought me out the washer. And we don't have any lug nuts for him. And so we needed washers and lug nuts because he wants to put them on his 85 Caballero. I think they look cool on there. So I ordered up a set of lug nuts and the washers, and I guess the Chevy or GM washers are the centered ones. He had a lug nut that was off-centered, and I guess that's the Ford Dodge bolt pattern or whatever. So I got on there, the Lug Nut King. This dude, he's got it listed really well on the bay side there, and you know, it's nice and simple. Ordered up a set. It's like 32 bucks, which honestly is a steal nowadays for lug nuts and washers, especially when they come really well packaged. They should be exactly what we need. There's no guessing. There's no having to go measure lug nuts. He's like, these will fit, you know, 80s and down GMs and true spoke wheels. I checked them with a micrometer to make sure, caliper to make sure that they were the right dimension and the shank was the right size and that sort of stuff. And his stuff's right on. So we ordered them up. It was worth it. It was awesome. You know, we ended up getting the acorn style nuts. If you see here, they got the rounded top on them. And back in the day, and I've seen a lot of pictures of them, is guys that have their street rods with these cool true spoke wheels on them. And they did look cool, like the old Fords and all the old street rod, you know, hot rod kind of street rods. I don't know, nowadays you probably call them rat rods, but they were probably nicer than a rat rod. I mean, they were the nicest thing that the guys could build for the time. And they had these spoke wheels on them, and they're like something like 32 spokes or something like that. 36, I don't know. You guys can correct me. But they didn't have that many spokes. I mean, they weren't like Dayton's where they had like 300 spokes or something. They were just a simple spoke wheel. and they are really neat looking, and I've seen them on some of the old vintage photographs. We ended up with a set of them in a collection of stuff I bought, and I gave them to my dad because he loves them. And now we got the lug nuts, so now he can get them wheels cleaned up, re-chromed, or powder coated, or whatever he wants to do with them, and be able to put them on his 85 Caballero. We're getting ready to build a motor for it. We're going to put a 400 small block in it with a 200 R4 transmission, and it should be a good little cruiser. So those are the lug nuts for that. I'll have to put them to the side for when he comes in. He usually comes in every Friday, brings his donuts or cookies or whatever. We'll put them to the side for him. This one was another one. Bought off the old internet. Let's see here which one this is. This is the transmission mount for the crawler, or the off-road truck, I guess would be the best way to put it. It's not really a crawler. It is kind of. So, energy suspension polyurethane bushing set for the 70s model Chevy. We're going to try, even though we're running a doubler, we got it mocked up, but we are going to try to run the stock crossmember until we get the doubler in there, and then figure out whether the front drive shaft is going to hit the crossmember, and then we'll modify the crossmember. But we need to have as many mounts as we can on this thing to keep it as stable as we can, because that's an awful lot of weight hanging off an adapter. So the transmission mount is going to be the stock style mount from the 70s Chevy truck, like 78, 79, something like that. Crossmember is like the same thing, 78, 79 Chevy half-ton crossmember. We're running these horseshoe-looking style mounts, and they're pretty solid. It's got the tall adapters, what they call it. In 85, they went to a shorter adapter with like a real style transmission mount. These things, it goes over the crossmember. They sit in there. When we get ready to start doing some more assembly and stuff, we'll show you how it works. But basically, it sits over the crossmember like that. The bottom side goes underneath the crossmember like that. And then you get a plate on it. There's a plate. And it sandwiches together with the bolt. It bolts up into the crossmember, or the adapter. Sandwiches that all together. It's a big old mount. It should be really good. I mean, it's really solid looking. It's very substantial. You ain't gonna rip it out. So I like that idea. I'd like to stay with that one. I think we are going to have to put a mount on the 205 itself also. Probably an early mount style that bolts to the big bolts on the side of the 205, and probably up to the frame, and probably build a crossmember, a high crossmember for that. Just because I think it's an awful lot of weight hanging off that adapter and the adapter for the 203, 205. I've noticed on Matt's Off-Road, they've broke some transmission transfer case adapters, that sort of stuff. I don't want this to happen on this one. And so we're starting out with this one, and then once we get the doubler set up in there, we will build another crossmember if we got to, and probably use the side mount, or the early style high mount, which would be like 1970 or something like that. They bolted to the side of it and didn't have a foot mount. Off-Road Designs does make one to bolt to the 205 itself as well, but I think it's a round pattern one. And we're not running any round pattern stuff. I have round pattern 205s, but I like to rat hole stuff, and I don't need to. So we're going to run a figure 8 pattern 205 to the 203, just because I've got a million of them. And it's not a big deal to go get it machined to 90 millimeter for the input bearing. And, you know, I can use up a bunch of what I got. Not a bunch, I can only use one of them, but it'd be a good example of how to use the old style. And there's a million of them everywhere. I mean, honestly, they're not that hard to come by. I would hate to imagine how many small bearing round pattern 205s I got. I would bet I have more than 100 of them. So I want to use what I have the most of, and I'm going to keep the round patterns to the side just in case, I don't know. I always say in case I have a project that's worth putting one in. But in all reality, this is a project worth putting one in. I just don't want to, because I like having stuff. And I'm going to use the one I got a million of. If I break 1 or 10, it ain't going to break my heart at all. So here's the box we got here from Off-Road Designs, and we touched on it a little bit earlier. Here is the massive amount of awesome stuff. We got greasable bearing, or greasable bushings. We got grease bolts. We got, this is going to be the front kit, I think. This is going to be, let's see, no, this is the front kit here. And as you can see, it's well packaged. We got all the bushings in here that are greasable. We have to press them into the leaf springs, which will be fun. We got a big old press, so it don't matter. And then we got, as you can see here, the greasable bolts for it. This is the rear kit, and we had to go in and spec out. I went through with a set of calipers, measured all the eyes and widths and everything else to get the right stuff. They were awesome on the phone. They're like, oh, you tell us what you got and we will send it to you. So that's a whole kit for the rear. The front kit is short a couple things, but they are right here. The couple things they are short is the front upper shackle hanger, and these are greasable as well, and so that's why the front only has 4 bushings in it. The other 2 bushings for it are right here. These are all fabricated. They're very well built. They're extremely strong, and they allow you to use a 1/2 inch greasable bolt in there. So that'll make it really, really strong, really, really good, and it'll be amazing. And then the one last thing we got here is the shackles for the front. And I can take you over there and we can look at the shackles that are on there, and you can then see why we have a problem.